Virtual Tramily. Hope you're having a great day. It is a beautiful morning out here on the Appalachian Trail, and I thought I would do a quick update. It was quite windy yesterday at the Stan Murray shelter, but luckily I did something with my tent. If you kind of lower your trekking poles and put your tent lower to the ground, it does kind of diffuse some of the wind, which is nice. So I had a good night last night, except the wind kept me up a little bit, but that's okay. It is just a gorgeous morning. These mornings are what is so amazing out here, is you just get to wake up and you get to see the sunrise over there. The sun's coming up right there and the birds are coming out and chirping. It's just a perfect start to the day. And the sunlight hours are getting longer. So sun rises at about between 6 and 6:30, and so far right now the sun doesn't go down until about between 7 and 7:30. So it's nice to have a little bit longer sunlight day. That is nice. But let's see, things are going pretty well. But I did want to talk about some of the reality of being out here and how it is. Not to scare anybody, but more to prepare people. And because it's not easy. As beautiful as it is out here, and how much joy and fun you can get out of a thru hike, please be prepared that it's not always so easy. You kind of have to, in my opinion, and of course this is all my opinion, you have to get used to being uncomfortable. You know, especially people that don't have a whole lot of backpacking experience. If you're coming out here and you're rather green, which I was in 2018, and it's still getting used to now. You know, it's not something that is just automatically done, but you know, you have to get used to sleeping in your tent and on a sleeping pad rather than, you know, on a nice comfortable bed with controlled climate and stuff. You know, you have to get used to hoot owls at night and birds making noises in the woods, which in my opinion, I think you grow to love it. I like it. I think it's cool when it does that, but it's something to get used to. You have to get used to being away from home, being away from a lot of comforts. You know, you can't just run to the store and get whatever food you're craving or wanting. And all of these sound like very minor little things, but they do add up to be a challenge out here. While I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't want you guys coming out to do a thru hike or preparing for your thru hike thinking it's a glorified, wonderful, like, you know, eating marshmallows and s'mores at the campfire every night. It's not really like that. Sure, there's moments of it for sure, but there's lots of discomforts. Putting on wet socks, that's miserable. And getting out of your warm sleeping bag and tent to get up in the cold, chilly morning to hike, or starting your hike and hiking a good portion of the day in the rain. And again, I know this stuff is common sense, but I just want you to realize that you have to, if you can, in your mind, before you come out here, get used to the idea that you're going to be uncomfortable many parts of the day or parts of your hike. Then you won't be quite so surprised, is what I'm trying to say. And for a lot of people, and this hit me hard this time, is being homesick and being away from home. Didn't really have that problem the first time. I guess because I was so focused on training for the races, but this time it has been a huge struggle for me to be away from home and away from Matt and the puppies and in a very routine homebody life. I wasn't expecting that. So if you do have a home life that is good and that you're not used to being away from, that's going to be a challenge out here. So I would like to talk about just a few things that are combating some of those issues as far as being homesick. Talking to other people, talking to other hikers, having a project, I've started writing a journal and focusing on that, getting my feelings and thoughts out, as well as cool things that have happened during the day. It kind of gives my mind a focus on something to do. Also, organizing and cleaning my gear. I like to be organized, so rather than being in my tent and being lonely and wishing I was home, I'll organize stuff and make sure I'm ready and prepared for the next day's hike. Talking to people, though, seems to be very beneficial, and I do like that. Of course, I'm in communication with my husband as often as we can be, and that helps a lot, and he reassures me that everything is good and okay at home, which gives me peace of mind. But also, I haven't done this yet, but I plan to pretty soon is have a date night with myself, my movie night. I know I talked about this before going on the trail, and I've downloaded some movies from Netflix, and one of these nights I'll get into camp a little bit early and watch a movie. I'm on day 23 today. It hasn't happened yet, but it will. And that's something to look forward to break up kind of the monotony of being on the trail, because that does happen, and to kind of have a plan. So and have audiobooks ready to go to redirect your mind when you start to have some low days and downtime, that you're feeling kind of lonely and wishing to go home. That seems to help a lot. I know these are minor things, but if you have these things in order and in place before you get out here, I'm hoping that the transition to hiker life is not quite so bad. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's awful out here. You have moments of being very lonely and down, but you have even more moments of being in incredible atmospheres and environments. So that's my speech and soapbox for today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll check in later. A quick information I wanted to give about about rattlesnakes and snakes out here on the AT. I had a really great conversation with Doug, who is a shuttle driver in Irwin. Awesome guy. He really helps out hikers, and he's a hiker himself, and he's a wealth of information about snakes. And so while I was getting a ride from him, I was asking him he was offering a lot of information about snakes, and I started asking some more information, and I got some stuff that I thought I would share with you guys because I found it interesting. So around April is when they're going to start coming out, and the two types of venomous snakes that you should be concerned about out here is rattlesnakes and copperheads, and they typically won't bother you unless you bother them. But they're like in 2018 when I stepped over a log, I almost stepped on a rattlesnake and it went right through my legs. I'll show a picture of that snake. But that was a close call, and they do if there's a blown down tree, they do tend to stay and hang out right behind them because they're waiting for animals to run across it so that they can strike and get them. So keep that in mind when you're jumping over logs, to look on the other side before you do that. Make sure there's no snakes. Also, he gave me this tip, and I had not thought about it, but it makes sense, is when you set up your tent, copperheads like that warmth, and they may get on the side of your tent, not in your tent, but on the side, and curl up and sleep there for the night. So when you go to pack up your tent, he suggested that you pick up your tent, move it over to a different location, shake it out, fold it, do whatever you need to do, and then pack it away, just in case you have a snake that has decided to stay the night with you or in close proximity. That was a good tip, and I will definitely do that. It's a little too cold for them to be out now, but in about a month and a half or so, they should be coming out. And of course, there's lots of snakes out here that are not that are not venomous, and you don't need to worry about them. Lots of like garden snakes and such. He showed me a whole bunch of pictures of all these beautiful snakes, because he goes around and takes a look at them and tries to save as many as he can. And I'm pro snake too. I like snakes. I think they're beautiful and fascinating. So, you know, I don't want any harm to come to any of them. But if you do get bitten by a copperhead or a rattlesnake, you are going to need anti-venom. And the local hospitals, they all carry it. So if you do get struck by a snake that is venomous, a copperhead or a rattlesnake, go and seek medical treatment. It's not likely that you will die from it if you can get the anti-venom. And again, I'm not saying any of this to scare you guys. I'm saying this so you can be prepared. And they are out here. I have seen them, and they're not a big, you know, they're not coming out to look for you. They're not threatening. As long as you don't bother them, they're not going to bother you. But just be aware that that is the case out here, and those are the two that you need to kind of keep an eye out for. And just be careful jumping over logs and different places like that, and packing up your tent. So that's what I had to say about snakes. And if you have any more questions about snakes, if you want to ask me them in the comments, I'll be happy to ask Doug and get his opinion on the answers, because I am definitely no expert, but he is. He knows so much about snakes, and it's pretty cool. So have a great day, everybody.